around the room and I'm thinking of all the people I've got to meet through this walk of life and just how blessed I've been, Brother Bobby.
Amen.
I just got to give a little story I found out today at school. Last semester I sat in class, and in my major there's a lot of ungodly people in my major. I just sat in class and I thought, God, just give me someone to talk to. There's plenty of people I can talk to about negative things. Today I go to class and I got there about an hour early. I went down to the computer lab, and the guy that was in our lab with me about a year ago told me him and his wife's been going to church and looking at Bibles online. And we started talking about godly things and just going to church and stuff. And I just thought of how blessed I've been.
Amen.
This evening I'll be reading out of Hebrews, and I'll be reading out of 1 Corinthians. In Hebrews chapter 12, 1 Corinthians chapter 10.
Amen. Watch the Lord.
While you're flipping there, I want to ask two questions of you guys. If I had a title for what I'll be talking about tonight, it'll be running the race, enduring the race, and finishing at the right finish line.
Amen.
My two questions: where are you in your race? And do you have endurance for your race?
Amen.
In the Hebrews chapter 12 is where I'll be reading first, starting in verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endureth the contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth and scorneth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons, for the Son is whom the Father chasteneth not. I'll be in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There is no temptation taking unto you, but such as common to men. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. But my thoughts this evening, were kind of scattered. I was thinking about where we're talking in Hebrews is the directed audience the author had there. The people were a Jewish nation, and they turned to Christianity after Christ came. They were persecuted, and they began to lose their endurance. They began to want to turn back to the old law. They didn't want to follow the new law anymore. They were being killed. They were being persecuted. They were being cast away. I kind of have a little story about this time I almost didn't have endurance. Bobby texted me on Monday, probably about 5 o'clock, asking if I was coming to the youth conference, and I told him, yeah, I was thinking about coming, but I was really going to come. And he asked me if I wanted to speak, and I told him, man, I got a lot going on right now. I don't know if I can do it. He said, okay, just let me know, and I was like, I can do that. So I go to bed thinking about just all the stuff with school. School had just started this week. I go to bed thinking about all the things I have to do, and I fall asleep. It was probably 12 o'clock. I wake up 4 o'clock wide awake. Verse on my mind was out of Hebrews, and I just began to write about the thoughts in my head, and I had half the lesson finished, or what I was going to talk about finished just that night. It was 5:30 before I looked at the clock again. It would have been very easy for me just to try and ignore it and go back to sleep, but I didn't lose my endurance, and there's been time and time again, I feel so unworthy to be here before you guys. When I kind of look around the room and I see who I'm talking to, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be
Just my tone, I felt kind of bleak when I was writing this, and I've turned into a kind of pessimistic type of person. I'm trying to be optimistic about stuff, but just school and everything's getting in the way. Today I feel our society is really lost its direction. We've lost where we're running to. We begin to lose endurance. We live in a very fast-paced, self-centered society. I listened to a song on the radio the other day. The artist is Toby Mac. He says, "I pray that I'm an artist who rises above the road that is wide and filled with self-love." And I couldn't think more how true that is. Our society, we've began to worship sports. Brother T.J. Lewis preached at camp about what Jesus are you following? In America, we've made other Jesuses. We've watered down. We've forgotten about the cross. We've forgotten about the blood. We've made sports. We've made television. We've made radio all our idols. We've made technology our idols. I don't get up out of bed without looking at my iPod to see if I have any emails. We've got off track. We've worshipped other things. We forget how essential the blood is to our lives. I also, while thinking about races, I began to think of ways to cheat, and what better timing for Lance Armstrong to admit to doing steroids. The man was a sports idol. He was, a lot of people looked up to him. I looked up to him. Now we find out that everything he did, he cheated. He cheated his way to victory. And a lot of times through life, we try and do that. We try and mask that. We're trying to mask other things. We're forgetting about godly things. We're getting lost in this life. We put on a face. We put on Casting Grounds has a song called Stained Glass Masquerade. We put that face on. We come to church, and we just pretend like nothing's happening. We've lost our endurance. I heard a quote this week about, it was actually one of my classes. The teacher said, "One generation looks back at the generation before it, only seeing the fruits of their labor. They think, why did everything come so easy for them, and why is it so hard for me?" We've lost our endurance. We don't understand that work goes into stuff. You need hard work to make it through life. Life isn't exactly easy. It's kind of hard. We've lost our work ethics. We forget that it takes hard work and study to get A's on the test. I forgot that myself. We've forgotten that it takes hard work to get a raise at work. It takes hard work just to go through life. But I've also learned through life that in that hard work, if you have God on your side, it's much easier to make it through life. I kind of was iffy on putting this, but it's still in my mind. We're called Christians for a reason. It means Christ-like. Originally, it was to mock the Christians. I think it was in Romans where they first used the word Christians. And we've got to where we ourselves as Christians seem to be more afraid to talk to the world about Christ than the world is to mock Christ. We've become more afraid of the word Christ, it seems, than the world is. And I see it a lot in my classes where God's mocked, and yet I sit there. I'm like I said, pessimistic. There's a better view to this. They said running to your arms in the song earlier. There's a. I want to go back to the verse in Hebrews, in chapter 12, verse 2. It says, "Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of God at the throne." Jesus came down and he ran a race also. He knew coming down here he was going to be mocked, he was going to be beaten, he was going to be abused. And he knew that he was running that race for us. He was showing us how to run the race. Time and time again, we forget that. We forget that he showed us true endurance.
That's right.
And just if you're here unsaved, you can run that race too. Christ came down, he gave his life, he shed his blood for us.
That's right.
He ran the race, he defeated death, that you can run the race also, and make it to heaven and make it to the correct finish line.
Amen.
Bless you, Lord.
Stand with us if you would. Katie, if you come to the piano and get an altar call song.
Bless.
We'll Powerful, powerful message.
Amen.
Amen.